Hi, hello, it is Amber from The Sensible Mama. These are the Sensible Sessions, and you are either streaming this on my podcast, The Sensible Sessions, or you're checking this out on YouTube. I am having to maximize my time this week because, first of all, I've been understaffed in my warehouse, and second of all, I've been understaffed with childcare. I don't have a lot of childcare, but I do get to count on a few hours a day to get my work done uninterrupted, and that has not been here this week. So we're making the best of that. So I figured today, if you're on my YouTube channel, you may be confused. Usually my Monday upload is when I do packing video kind of stuff, and then Friday is when I do more of my story time, chit chat videos. We're just gonna flip that up this week. Monday is gonna be my chit chat sit down video, and then Friday I'll do more of a regular packing video. So why are we here today? Before I get into the video today, I do just want to take a brief moment to introduce you to our sponsor, which is my business, thesensiblemama.com. The Sensible Mama is an online baby boutique for babies, toddlers, big kids, and moms. Our warehouse is located in Atlanta, Georgia, and we are mama-owned and mama-operated. Our website, thesensiblemama.com, is a place where you can find all of the best-known names in the industry researched by us. We are also the home of Limea brand, which is a high-end line of diaper bags, sunglasses, and accessories designed by me with busy moms on the go in mind. While you're there, make sure you sign up for our Sensible Reward program or apply for the affiliate program to start earning money either through cash back in the store or directly deposited to your bank account. Lastly, make sure you're following The Sensible Mama on Instagram to be ahead of the game for all store news and product launches. And with that said, let's get right back into today's content. I wanted to talk today. I've had two topics that I've played around with, but I think the one that I've landed on that I want to talk about is when did we stop seeing each other? Has it always been this way? Have we always not seen each other, or is this new? Is this a new thing? Because I'm noticing something, and it really started with me being at Target the other day. I was there with my two kids, and they were not in great moods, which meant that I was not having a great time at Target, and I was really just doing everything that I could think of to try to get my kids to be happy and not make the trip miserable for all of us. So I hear, the whole time I'm inside of Target, I hear a baby crying. And I remember that back when I was a new mom, if I had heard a baby crying, even when I had a brand new baby myself, I would have found that mom and I would have asked her, "Can I help you? What can I do for you?" And this time, I didn't realize it until I got to checkout. I had heard that baby crying that whole time, and I hadn't, even though I knew I was in proximity of this woman, I didn't put any effort into trying to find her and help her. And I didn't really think much about that at the time anyway. But I got to checkout, and that woman ended up being right behind me in the line, and I see her, and she is completely frazzled. Right? She's got her baby in a car seat inside of the cart. So I can't see the baby because I'm on the other side, so I can only see the back of the car seat, but I can hear the baby screaming. Once the mom gets the cart stopped, I can just see her exasperated, rifling through her diaper bag looking for something. I'm assuming either the baby needs a diaper change and she's just trying to get a diaper so that once she pays, she can get out of there and go do the diaper change. Or, she was looking for formula or a bottle of pumped milk or something. Now, mind you, I'm still dealing with two tiny tornadoes, a 3-year-old and a 5-year-old, who are trying to get things down off of the shelves. They love putting all the stuff right there at eye level for little kids, like candy and little toys and things. And my kids were obviously trying to get their hands on all of that stuff. And I'm working really hard to get my children calm, because now my kids at the age that they are at the age where I guess more social shame comes in for you as a mom if your kids aren't behaving. When you have a little baby, people are annoyed with the baby, but they also don't tend to judge you as much. People get it. It's a baby. When you have toddlers, people become a lot less tolerant of your kids having a bad day, and they tend to blame that on you. So I'm lost, right, in my own world of like, yes, wanting to keep my kids happy, but also being a little bit worried that like people are judging me and people are thinking I'm a bad mom, or that I don't care about them, and that I haven't exhausted every possible idea that I have to try to keep my kids quiet and happy. And as I'm lost in that world, I finally I turn and I look at this woman and I see the desperation in her eyes, trying to figure out how to make this baby stop crying. And it was the first time that I saw her. And in that moment, she and I locked eyes with each other, and I was just transported back to what that was like. And I want to say, I think there are probably a lot of moms who were better at the newborn stage than I was. And if you're listening to this, what is so stressful about a baby crying? Just pick the baby up, figure it out. Not all of us moms were some of us moms were very rattled by that. And I think a lot of us are that way, just not being completely familiar or comfortable with what a newborn baby is like. For me personally, my first baby was the first baby I ever really held. So it was a whole new world for me. And I could just sense from this woman that was the same thing for her. I also really got the sense that this trip to Target, here's what it did. It took me back to a time in my life when I was so desperate to get out of the house, to have some me time, to just feel like a normal human person again. And I remember those moments where I'd be like, it's almost his nap time. He usually naps around this time. I bet you I could feed him, I could change him, get him in the car. He'll fall asleep in the car, and I could get to Target, just put the car seat into the cart, and I could have maybe 30 minutes of just quiet, and I could go pick out some earrings or some comfy pajamas or something, and I can have some peace. I'll get a coffee. I'll get a coffee while I'm there. It'll be amazing. And then it never really turned out that way. Sometimes it did, but a lot of times it didn't, I should say. And you get there and you realize, for me, it was this feeling of when is this going to end? When do I ever get to feel like a person again? When do I ever get to just shop in a store? I was breastfeeding at the time, right? So I really I wasn't producing enough milk to be able to pump enough of a supply to leave my son alone for very long. And I just remember feeling like, when do I ever get to feel like myself again? And that was what I experienced looking into that woman's eyes. I felt that. I felt her frustration of I just needed half an hour. And I couldn't even have that. It absolutely broke my heart for her. So I gave her that, the face, this one that's are you okay? I see you. And she smiled back at me, and she put on that brave face that all new moms put on, because we all kind of learn as new moms that you really aren't allowed to complain. I think all of us, and this again gets back to my question of when did we stop seeing each other? It makes me wonder if it's because we get so beat down sometimes. Motherhood is wonderful and beautiful and chaotic and hard. And if maybe we just get so lost in our own stories that we forget what it was like in other phases of our lives. And we end up saying these really insensitive things to other moms, right? So as new moms, we learn we're not allowed to say that I wish I could have some alone time, because then you get someone, who's struggling with infertility or miscarriages. And I've been there, who's lost in their own world, right? And so the first thing they say is, you shouldn't complain, at least you have a baby, right? Or you're speaking to an older person whose kids are grown, and you mention that you're having a hard time, and you're frustrated and you're exhausted, and that mother says to you, you should appreciate these times because they're going to go. You're not going to have these times forever. They're going to grow up. So as a new mom, you learn there's really not much you can say other than, "Yeah, I'm fine. I'm good, thank you." And you choke it back. And I could sense that was what that woman was doing. So I looked at her again. I said, "Are you really? Are you really okay?" And she could, even then, she couldn't. She said, "Oh yeah, I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm just she's hungry and I just got to find the bottle. And once I do that, I'll be good. I'll be home soon." And it broke my heart hearing her talk like that. Seeing how hard it was for her to even just be able to admit that she was in over her head that day. So much so that she couldn't even acknowledge that she was in over her head. And it really broke my heart. I know that all of us as moms are well-meaning. I know we love our kids. I know that we all know that every stage of motherhood is hard. But it seems like as we transition into new phases, new seasons of motherhood, we kind of forget what those other ones were like. And we get very absorbed. And I'm saying we because I did this. My story from that Target trip is me doing exactly this. Becoming so lost in the stage of life that we're in right now that we forget to see other people. And I don't even think that it's just those of us who are like in more advanced stages with older kids. I also think it's new moms too, because I remember having a newborn and being very frustrated when people tried to say to me, like, "Enjoy it, appreciate it, they're going to grow up one day." And I would just be like, don't give me that. I don't want to hear that. And I still don't. I think that's not a very helpful or polite thing to say. But if we really stop and think about it, those women, they're saying that because there's truth to it. It's not an untrue statement. It's just an untimely statement to say that to a woman whose baby is screaming and colicky and fussy and she's not sleeping at night and all of these things. Because even just last night, this one's going to be all over the place if you guys haven't noticed. Last night I was putting Abby to bed and I was holding her. And a lot of times by the end of the day with my two kids who are very young and very close in age, I'm exhausted and I'm just kind of trying to get through bedtime quickly while still making them feel loved. But last night I was taking it slow and I was really enjoying being with Abby. And I looked at her and I said, "I sure am going to miss you, little girl." And she said, "Why, Mommy? Where are you going?" And I said, "Oh, Mommy's not going anywhere. You're going to go somewhere." And she looked at me and I said to her, I said, "One day you're going to grow up. Not today, not anytime soon." And I said, "I'm going to love who you become. I'm going to love watching you grow and become more independent. But I'm going to miss this little girl." And it was that in that moment, realizing that even with Abby, it's summer right now. I have 15 more summers with her before she's gone. If I've done my job right, And so then I was like, man, I feel so bad for all of the times that I got annoyed with a parent with older kids who said that to me, because the hurt I know I'm going to feel when these kids grow up and move out, that pain, how much I will wish that I could relive even my hardest moments with the kids. I may. So it's just strange how all of us moms are united in the same journey of having a newborn, having that newborn turn into a baby and then a toddler and then a little kid and then an adolescent and an adult. We all go through that whole process, but all of us are so stuck in the current season that we're in that we don't see it feels anybody else. When we have little kids, all I said when my kids were really small is, oh, I can't wait. Who else did this? I can't wait until my kids are 3 to 5 years old, because oh my gosh, they'll be independent and I won't be having to like get car seats in and out of the car, and they'll be going to the bathroom on their own. They'll be able to feed themselves. Things will be so much easier if I could just get them to that stage. And now here we are, and guess what? I think that being a toddler mom is the hardest kind of mom. I thought being a newborn mom was the hardest kind of mom when I had a newborn, and now that I have toddlers, I'm like, oh no, no, having toddlers is way worse, because now they want to do everything for themselves, but they're not actually proficient enough to do all the things that they want to do for themselves. So a lot of my time is spent watching my children attempt to get the toothpaste on their toothbrush, and they refuse to let me help them. And as a generally impatient person, this is a stretch for me, right? It's hard for me. And I have a feeling that when my kids are teenagers and I'm experiencing them going to drive for the first time I begin experiencing a world in which my children are not always in my care. The first time I realize that my kids aren't home and I'm calling their phones and they're not answering, and I don't know where they are or if they're okay. I'm sure when I reach that stage, I will believe that that is the hardest stage of parenting. And in some ways it's true, Whatever stage of life you're in is the hardest to you at that time, because it's what you're experiencing day to day. But if there's anything that I wish that all of us as moms, a community of moms, this is a community. Everyone else gets to have a community. This motherhood is our community. We need to do better about noticing each other. We got to knock it off with the mommy shaming. Just to give one example of something that I see all the time is that a mom goes to a restaurant and she brings iPads with her for her kids. And she tries her best to keep the kids off the iPads. She doesn't pull them out. She tries to keep the kids busy with other things, but at some point the kids are just getting to be too much. They're getting loud and rambunctious, and the mom pulls out the iPad, and then the first thing you see is people giving her dirty looks, or even coming by and saying things to her about screen time. And she shouldn't have had kids if she was just going to put them in front of a TV all the time. And I guarantee you that same mom, if she had not given those kids the iPad and had just let them sit and scream, when she knew fully well that iPad, say what you want to say about an iPad, that at least that device would keep her kids happy and calm and quiet so that the other patrons of the restaurant could enjoy their meal. If she didn't do that, those same people would be walking over and calling her a bad mom for not keeping her kids in check. Now, we could argue about, sure, maybe there are better ways to get your kids quiet and happy at a dinner table. But for me personally, I don't see a lot of problem with screen time. There's actually not a whole lot of science to support that you shouldn't give your kids screen time, although people want to use a few studies as a boogeyman. The problem is that it doesn't seem like there's ever a right answer. And I'm listening to a book right now by Jeffrey Marsh. And one of the things that they say in their book is there is almost no universal agreed upon opinion about anything. There are very few things that we as humanity agree upon enough that we could make them into laws as our moral code and our legal code. And even some of those things we still dispute, right? There's almost nothing that is an agreed upon truth. And the same holds with parenting. So no matter what you're doing as a parent, there are going to be people, very loud, very vocal people, and often other moms, the worst part, who are going to believe that what you're doing is not right. And they're gonna express that opinion to you. And I want our little community on this little corner of the internet to not be those kinds of moms. I want us to be the kinds of moms that see each other. And again, I'm saying this just as much to me as I am to you. We need to see each other, and we need to uplift and help each other. We need to remember what our lives were like in those other seasons. And instead of telling another mom that like, oh, just wait, a worse season is coming, I know because I've been there, we need to say, hey, this season that you're in is really tough. I remember it. I remember that. How can I help? That's what we need to be doing. UPS is here, as I'm sure you just heard. I'm going to end it here. I feel like this one was all over the place, but it was something I needed to get off of my chest and something that I hope we can all kind of think about. Being a mom is hard. Being a mom is, it takes so much selflessness and self-sacrifice. It takes patience and virtue. It takes a lot of things that don't always come naturally to us. So let's just be better about coming alongside of each other, uplifting and supporting each other. Love ya. Mean it. Always. Mwah. And I'll see you in the next one.